I found out that Kourt is so upset because she actually called me crying.
She did say that every one of her friends thinks.
Oh yeah, because she's saying every one of her friends, but she doesn't have any friends. So Travis?
No.
And I'm like, ouch, Rama. Like, that's another dig that Kourtney's gonna see Kim saying about her. Hey, YouTube. This episode, we really get to see the Kim and Kourt drama heat up. Kim is still in Milan. The show is happening. Everyone's there to support her. Obviously, Kourtney is not.
Kourtney Kardashian is a barker and really only cares about the barkers.
Tonight is the opening of Crossroads, which Travis is one of the founding owners.
I.e. the producer being like, your family wasn't there.
Your family's not there, though.
Which, wouldn't the producers know, duh, your family's not there because they're in Milan right now, where Kourtney should be supporting her sister.
Right, and she goes, this is my family right here.
That is my family.
But that was a smack dab statement. This is my new family that like are good people. Y'all Kardashian-Jenners, go be fake in designer clothing in Milan. We also see Kourtney's side as she's talking to her stylist, Danny, about it. Danny is literally like, yep, we did 90s.
I was really never told the concept that it was like 90s. And then it just feels like she took the mood board we sent my family.
Yeah.
She's like, I might want to work with Kim one day. You know, she doesn't want to.
Exactly.
I feel like it's annoying to her because she thought, oh my God, she said this on my podcast. She says it on the show. Authenticity. Yes, Colt, I bring up my podcast sometimes. Deal with it.
Girl, if I had a podcast, I would too, bitch.
She said that authenticity is what motivates her. That's how she makes decisions. So, you know, her decision to get married with Dolce and Gabbana, she's like, in this, she says, La Vida Loca life. Dolce Vita.
Like living La Dolce Vita, like genuinely.
She's in this and La Vida Loca, though. She's in this La Dolce Vita lifestyle. She loves Portofino, and it's just annoying to her that Kim comes in, does something similar 4 months later that is, in Kourtney's opinion, not from the heart, not authentic, only for money. That's it, I solved the crime.
I'm just sitting over here. Let's not be mad at Kim Kardashian. They need to point her fingers at Dolce & Gabbana, and I loved when the stylist asked, are you going to talk to Dolce & Gabbana?
Do you think you'll say something to Dolce and talk to them about it?
Oh yeah, let me just call them up being like, listen, G, this is really up.
Well, we need to discuss the Kris Jenner of it all too, because I just love how Kris Jenner in the episode is heavy Team Kim and like does not understand Kourtney's perspective at all.
I think this is a really special opportunity for Kim.
Mom, just acknowledge Kourtney's feelings.
Oh boy.
But then there she pops into the confessionals and she's over here trying to be Switzerland and making the peace between everyone.
When it comes to Kim and Kourtney, no one's right and no one's wrong. It's gonna work itself out.
Wait, I actually felt betrayed for Kourtney at that dinner after the show where, you know, Khloe decides to tell some rando who's sitting next to her. I feel like he's an important rando, but Khloe, surprisingly, out of everyone, decided to take it to the next level and talk Kourtney.
Everything started with Mama. All this situation started with Mama.
You should tell somebody else that. Kourtney. Oh.
Like, she had her break.
But that's what I mean.
She's having her break.
How we were raised is that we just are happy for one another. So I don't know where this is coming from, but it's okay. You let someone pout in the corner, you don't entertain it, and you move on.
But then they pan over to Kim, who tells Domenico, and is like, yeah, Kourtney's really mad.
She got so mad. She said, you're trying to copy me, but she always tries to hate on the side. She's such a hater.
And I'm like, oh my God, like, how, like, even if they made up, I feel like if Kourtney watched that episode, she's gonna be pissed again. She's gonna be like, you told Domenico?
Now we're back in LA and we see Kim and Khloe sit down talking about Kourtney. And Khloe brings up how Kourtney called her crying about this entire situation.
I found out that Kourt is so upset because she actually called me crying. And she just feels like there's no loyalty in this family and that everyone wants what the other person has.
Yup, and Khloe was finally back to her Khloe roots, trying to say, Kim, listen, you need to go gentle on her when you talk.
I also am fearful that it can get ugly quickly if you're not in like the right Zen energy mode. Don't be like, I don't give a
And like, this isn't whose is bigger competition.
It's not a measuring contest.
Yep.
You got a big she has a nice size like you guys are good. Okay?
I'd be offended if I was Kourtney. I'd be like, just nice size, bitch. Why don't I get a big one? But then we see Kim in the middle of the conversation with Khloe dialing a number and the ringtone starts going.
Who are you calling?
I thought she was like, F it, I'll call Kourtney right now.
Simon, because I feel like we
God.
need to involve him.
One of the things that struck me most in that conversation was them talking about Kim saying that all Kourtney's friends were really riling her up. And then Kim goes, what friends?
She did say that every one of her friends thinks.
Oh yeah,
what
because
you
she's
did
saying
is
every
the
one of her
most-
friends, but she doesn't have any friends. So Travis?
No.
And I'm like, ouch, Rama. Like, that's another dig that Kourtney's gonna see Kim saying about her. That's her fault. Kourtney keeps on saying Kim stole her whole vibe. And then Kim goes and says, like, if you want to go down that road, no prob, because I wore that first in 2018.
Some of the looks that she ended up with at her wedding, I wore before. I wore one filming with the Madonna thing. I wore it filming for Keeping Up in 2018. And she wore that as her bridal thing with the black veil, the same outfit that I already own.
And, you know, she did copy her wedding location too.
You stole my wedding country.
Well, I mean, not that either of them are the only ones to get married in Italy, but still. So last episode, we were introduced to Kim's whole ploy to get Khloe's mojo back. As they're talking about it, actually, the girls bring up that Khloe had an incident in the elevator of the hotel. She saw some guy that looked good, and she was like, hey, baby.
She walked into the elevator and saw a hot guy, and she said to him, hi, baby. He's like, hey.
He asked where she's staying or something because he didn't know why she was at the hotel. Right. Then he said his room number. I'm here at 3 blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's right across from me.
So then I was like, Khloe, we have to invite him to the Dolce & Gabbana party. Let's slip an invite under his door.
So North comes up with this prank to write a note from the dude to Khloe saying, like, if you want to go on a date, like, knock 3 times.
Mom, we should make a note about saying it's from him and hang it on Coco's door. We're like,
oh my God,
we're like, hey, can we go on a date?
Can we go? Yes, let's actually do it.
Khloe bought it, and it later feels so silly because North wrote it.
The next day, I go and do glam. I get off the elevator and I run into him. And I was like, thank you so much for your note. He's like, what note? And I was like, shut up. What? And I go, the note you wrote me? And I told him the whole thing. And then he was like, can I see the note? So I went to get the note and I gave it to him. He's like, one, I'm like so offended you thought this would be my handwriting.
I'm mortified because I'm this much of a loser that I'm going to accept any child's handwritten letter to me and take it as an admirer.
Well, what I loved about the prank with North is also, like, again, we see North in this adult dynamic. It was like about a dude, about Khloe hitting on a dude, and North's just like, North gets it. She's even like, I'm not writing, baby.
But you gotta get the paper.
Can we do a hey, baby?
No.
And she got so excited. She was like, prank of the season.
Prank of the season.
Well, I kind of got excited for a second thinking it might be Michele Morrone.
Morrone. Oh my gosh. I don't think even Khloe knows how to pronounce his name. He's that hot.
I'm just calling him. Hey, babe. Hey, daddy.
Not to objectify him, but he is that hot that it actually doesn't matter what his name is. So we do see him. We see him meeting Khloe. We see Khloe telling the story of the picture that he asked her to put his hand around her waist, which is pretty intimate, Michele.
Did you see the photo that circulated? How he was, I had no idea how he was posing. He's like kissing my forehead.
He was like, can I put my hand on your waist for a photo? I was like, that is so nice that you asked me. And he like grabbed the small of my waist. I was like, ooh, yes, daddy.
Like, we are getting Khloe in the confessional hot and horny. Normally it's Kim talking about what makes her horny, but we found out today that Khloe likes to be gripped, grabbed, and pulled wherever she can go from a man.
I think he's super hot. He's like a man. I love a good man. I could see him like, ugh.
But like sitting next to him on the runway, having to communicate with the hottest person on the planet, to then go backstage to tell your friends like, oh my God, like, are you sitting next to this really cute guy, talking, and then he's right behind them. Like, they shut up real quick.
Did you make a new best friend?
I did. I'm in an arranged marriage, I've heard.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
You didn't know?
No.
Do you approve?
You
know?
That's it.
That was the best moment ever.
And also Khloe telling the whole story. That's the Khloe that I love, the self-deprecating Khloe. She was telling the story of how they were talking and he said he had kids.
He's like, I have 2 kids. They're in Lebanon.
She said she had kids.
I was like, oh, that's nice. I go, I have 2 kids. My daughter's 4 and my son is still an infant.
And he was like, wow, you look great. And she's like, no, I didn't give birth. I did with a surrogate.
So he was like, you look great. I was like, oh, I didn't birth the baby. I go, it's a surrogate. He's like, oh, how's that? I go, it's so weird.
And he's like, okay.
He thinks I'm nuts.
And she was like, I divorced my ex-husband. He was found in a brothel.
Why'd you get a divorce? Oh, found him in a brothel.
And then she also said, oh, and I have 2 dads. One of them died. One of them is now a girl.
So how's your dad? Which one? One's dead and one turned into a girl.
What else do you want to know, huh? What else do you want to know?
I can go on and on.
And Khloe's over here being like, the fact that she doesn't even need to make this shit up. Like, you can't write anything better than the truth.
We're just gonna start making up different stories. But you can't come up with better than what the truth is. No, that's what I meant. You gotta be. That's what it's fine.
You know what? I hope that it wasn't all talk in Italy. You know, I hope that there was some action. So what did you guys think of episode 5? Let us know in the comments below.
And make sure to check out all of our past recaps in case you missed them.
And don't you forget to subscribe.